Welcome to the Reverberations podcast, where we explore the human experience and the journey of self-discovery. In the next several episodes, we're going to be delving deeper into the journey of self-discovery, what that means, what it looks like, what it feels like, how we can be supported, how we can expand, some of the tools, resources that keep us engaged in our practice. In today's episode of Knock Knock, Who's There? It's about getting to know ourselves, reacquainting ourselves with ourselves, becoming interested in who we are, who we really are. The foundation, the fundamental essence of who we are, why we are, what our story is, what our beliefs are, where they come from, our operating program, and identifying how these things came about, and the deeper question of why. Why is such a potent question? It's the one that peels back the layers, layer after layer after layer. It's the tough question. It's the one that begs us to know thyself. Who am I? What made me? What do I say yes to? Why do I say yes to it? Why do I say no to the things that will initiate action and bring about the outcomes that I truly desire? What beliefs are mine? What beliefs are indoctrinated? What are my convictions? Am I really free? Do I have free thought? Do I allow myself to freely explore ideas, concepts? So as we knock upon the door of our own consciousness, we are invited inside to explore the hallways, to explore the hidden rooms, to explore the crevices, to go in the deep, dark basement, to go into the dirt room, to go into that crawl space, to rise above our fear and go into the attic, to explore, to be curious and witness ourselves at a soul level. There's so much to learn. There's so much to celebrate. There's so much to release. Now, for some, this process could bring up a lot of pain. It could bring up memories that don't feel good. It could bring up emotions that set forth a series of events that initiate massive changes in our life. There's the potential of re-experiencing trauma, though the only way out is through. The only way through is through. While ignorance may be bliss, our subconscious knows. Our operating system that is underneath is subconsciously holding us back from experiencing the fullness of who we are, our optimum potentiality. And we so conveniently busy ourselves, occupy our time, and bypass the practice that leads us to liberation, to true freedom. So wherever we are, let's all just take a breath. There's no need to make it weird or anything. Simply just place your attention on your inhalation of the breath and follow it. Become a bit more aware of it. There's no coincidence that the inhalation is our inspiration. It inspires our physical form seemingly out of nowhere, out of thin air. So for just a moment, just become curious of the breath. Become a little bit more interested in your breath. Follow it on the inhale, all the way through the exhale. And simply just become aware of your breath. Is it short? Is it shallow? Is it deep? Does it feel warm? Is it cooling? Or did you just do a quick one just to get through? Or did you bypass the whole thing entirely? There's a saying in meditative and yogic practice: follow the breath. There's so much wisdom in that simple phrase. Allows us to become a bit more aware of our body, of the processes that sustain our life, literally life support, and draws an immediate connection to our well-being, our mind, our body, our spirit, inspired. So when we gift ourselves that moment to connect with ourselves, what does it feel like? What does it feel like when we receive that breath and gift ourselves that time, that opportunity to tune in? This is our isness, not the business or the busyness. We become so preoccupied with what is going on outside of us that we externalize our experience rather than internalize its meaning of being here now, being with what's in front of us. Whereas the past and attachment to guilt and shame and placing too much attention on the future leads to anxiety and worry and fear. So as we knock upon the temple of our consciousness, upon our isness, our breath is the gateway that allows us to receive that wisdom, allows us to journey with inside, to take a moment to shift beyond the busyness to the isness. And do we just want to exist and be led from situation to circumstance, be carried along? Or do we want to maximize our potential, be an active participant of our life, to be a creator and feel into what our dreams are, what lights us up, what brings us joy? And I've heard the other side of this as well. Well, that's not going to make a paycheck. I'm not able to support myself. I truly understand that. And I respect the honesty of that and the vulnerability of being able to express that and to share where we might be in that moment. And I've been there myself, time and time again, of holding myself back of what I know to be true, of being engaged in activities and partnerships, relationships that don't support my vision, my dream, what lights me up, what brings me joy, my health, my well-being. So why do we stay in that? What we hold on to has the potential to hold us back. So if we truly desire freedom, if we truly desire liberation, if we truly desire joy, if we want to be the best version of ourselves, our favorite version of ourselves, the me that lights up, that is radiant, that feels so confident in my own skin, that I'm walking my path, that I'm living my purpose, that I'm true to myself, we have to ask some questions of ourselves. Do we feel free to pursue it? Do we feel free to make a choice to do what we truly desire and be what we are at a soul level, to let our uniqueness shine? Let me ask this. Do you enjoy the personal rights and liberties which you are blessed with, or do you hold back? I could speak for myself and say, you know what? I hold back, make excuses, or provide reasons rather than lean into supporting the results that I truly desire. So potential by definition is having or showing the capacity to become or develop into something in the future, having qualities or abilities that may be developed to lead to future success or usefulness. Though what really moves me is the definition from physics. It's the quantity determining the energy of mass in a gravitational field or of charge in an electric field. The potential, the energy. We all have potential. How do we choose to utilize that potential? And where we really begin to unlock the door of unlimited potential within is when we are intentional with our growth, of where we live on purpose, of where we explore with curiosity, of where we expand our mind. For if there is something that we desire to experience, and we don't allow ourselves the opportunity to have that experience without actually taking any action towards that, we're robbing ourselves. That we might as well not even knock on the door, might as well ding dong ditch. And we're playing the game against ourselves. Now you see me, now you don't. A constant game of hide and seek with ourselves. But we know who's knocking on the temple of consciousness. And the beauty is with that responsibility and the accountability of ourself and for all things in our experience comes in an incredible amount of freedom, of joy, of empowerment, a radical acceptance of being fully present with who we are and all that is, to the best of our ability, and knowing that we are supported along the way and held in that space. For being who we know to be true within is the essence of freedom. As Bob Marley put it, free yourself from mental slavery. Free your mind. Let's free ourselves from mental slavery and know that we're not alone. And the more that we openly communicate about what holds us back with those that receive us, that not only hear us, they listen to us. And they allow us a safe space to be able to share without necessarily offering advice, offering a soft place to land. So when we knock on that door and we're invited in, what we seek is seeking us. And the answer and what we desire and what we know to be true is already there. Quieting the mind to connect with the soul of existence, our divine purpose, our soul's yes, our heartfelt desire, our greatest vision of what moves us, of what soothes us, of what grooves us. This has been the quest of humankind. And knowing our connection and experiencing on that intimate level, that's salvation. And salvation hinges on us releasing the fear of what might be, what was, our judgments of what was or what should be, and being vulnerable enough to trust and be with what's in front of us. Initiating action and trusting that we will be supported along the journey. This is the journey of self-discovery, and it doesn't need to be done alone. In fact, it's better together. Sharing the experience, collaborative, connected, communing, aligning, merging and emerging as one. And the beautiful thing is we don't need to lose our sense of self, our sense of identity, our I am presence. It's as we lean into this and we step out of fear, we step out of insecurity. The light shines on our intrinsic self. And of course, it's uncomfortable. We expose opportunities for growth and open to our vulnerabilities. Though it's in this space where we witness our whole self, our raw, naked, uncut version. This is where the alchemy happens, the alchemical gold. We become responsible and accountable at a soul level, and it's a choose your own adventure at this point. We are the captain of our ship, the torchbearer, the alchemist. The revolution is within, together. This isn't a private party. This is a group invitation. So as we knock on that door, are we able to be free of judgment to the best of our ability? Or at least be consciously aware of our behaviors and be willing to course adjust to support a more sustainable and harmonious experience as we co-create all that we have ever desired. We've been the architects and engineers of the physical world, creating miraculous structures spurred by the inspiration of the mind. Now we have the invitation to be the innovators and the designers of our true innermost and expansive self that supports a more sustainable and harmonious coexistence amongst all of us. We have the tools, we have the technology, we have the resources. Our process of evolution is shifting from what we can do to who we can be together. When we reconnect with ourself and the soul of creation from a non-dogmatic position, without any attachments, without any judgments, for just a moment, suspend all of our beliefs of anything that we have been taught, anything that we know for just a moment. Lean into that silence. Lean into that expansiveness. Lean into that inspiration. Remember that feeling of the isness rather than the busyness. It allows us to witness a path and gain a clear perspective, a conscious awareness, an unobstructed vision of what is possible. And it lays the foundation, the pathway. It empowers us and provides us with all that we need to stay on course, to shift the direction of humanity, to really look at life and one another and say, we got this, and know it on a soul level. Maybe struggle with it on the human level, and that's okay. It's okay to not be okay. This whole entire podcast and the next several episodes are actually going to be pulled from my book, It All Begins With You. And the reason that I wrote the book was that I was going through a challenge in my life, and I needed to reflect and remember the key things that are guideposts that remind me of who I am, why I am here. The journey of self-discovery in the human experience is something that I am incredibly passionate about, and being the best version of ourself. Not just for ourselves, for all. Where it's not just a selfish motive, it's a collective initiative. That I am possible. I just have to be willing to walk through that door. I have to be willing to take the risk. I have to be willing to know that I don't know. I have to be willing to be the eternal student. Everything that we desire is on the other side of that door. Are we willing to unlock the door to our true, natural, intrinsic potential? The deeper question is, are we willing to hold the door open to support others? And this was a big part for me, is learning that servant leadership. And that's going to come into play in following podcasts. Though it's these questions that we're asking ourselves now that really pave the way. Before we get into what we're of service to, we have to really know who we are to gain clarity on our path. And one of the things that I've been reflecting on is my book was published in 2008. How has that information, those insights, that wisdom then, how is it translated? What did I learn? What haven't I embodied? What hasn't been integrated in my day-to-day experiencing? Now that might sound silly. Who am I, right? After all these years, we should know who we are. Though when it comes down to it, we make choices that aren't in alignment with what it is that we desire. There's a quote that really speaks to this. Is decide what kind of life you really want, and then say no to everything that isn't that. Otherwise, we steal from ourselves. We're holding ourselves hostage from experiencing the life that we know to be true, that we desire, our favorite version of ourselves, the version of ourselves that feels alive, that is passionate, that leads from the heart and honors and respects and values our personal boundaries and honors and values and respects the non-negotiables. It makes those challenging choices, no matter how difficult they are, whether it's to leave that job, to exit the partnership, to see a therapist, to do the deep soul work, to overcome addiction, whatever it is that holds us back. This is where the practice is. This is where the magic happens. This is where alchemy has its way. This is where love has its way. Because as we begin to honor, value, respect, support, nourish, and embrace the life that we desire and we know to be true, synchronicity has its way. Things start to show up as we begin to show up for ourselves, for our soul, on time and on purpose. How fun is that? And we're not alone. Let's lean in and support each other on our journey. Though as Morpheus said in The Matrix, I can only show you the door. You're the one that has to walk through it. Thank you all once again for tuning in to another episode of Reverberations. Truly is just an incredible experience to share this time and space with you. To be able to share what is on my heart, to be able to share guests that are passionate, that are intentional, that operate with integrity and are of service to humanity, to all in creation. So if anything in this podcast or any of the previous episodes inspired you, touched you, moved you, share this with your social media, share it with your friends. Let's reverberate and spread the love. This is how we can co-create more sustainable and harmonious coexistence with all in creation. Let's amplify our love. And remember, we are better together. Have an amazing day.
Seeking beyond, trying to find